Welcome back to Whitetail Garage. It's actually snowing outside. Yeah, it's a Texas snow, but it's snowing. Anyways, so what I'm going to work on today, though, is back when the last time I had this car running, I made it an automatic. And in order to fit the shifter in, I hammered this down, which in hindsight was not a good plan, but it is what it is. We're here now, right? So when I was putting the transmission in, I was struggling to get it in, and I couldn't figure out why until I remembered that I had done this. So the cool part is that LMR has saved me again. So LMR sells a kit that is that center tunnel piece that I guess it's maybe to go from an automatic to a manual, I don't know, but that's so they give you a bag of rivets for you to rivet it in, and then the kit includes the lower rubber shifter boot, new bolts for that, and new retaining nuts for that. So that's what I'm going to work on today, is getting that cut out of the car and get the metal that is underneath that piece back into the right shape, and then put that over the top of it, drill the holes and rivet it, and do a seam sealer. The first thing I'm going to do is get all this sound deadening material off. That'll help me to see where the seam needs to be. So fun. Thinking what I'm going to do is just right around where the bulge is when being hammered down. Go ahead and take that off, because I think this is designed to go right over the top of it. Like I don't think it's the actual. I mean, it may be. I actually see a full seam there. What I was going to say is I don't think it is the actual replacement panel that's the same shape as the Ford panel, but it actually might be. But for now, I think I'm just gonna, everywhere you see that it's bulged, I'm gonna cut that out real quick, and then from there, if I need to like find the spot welds and pull them out or whatever, then I'll go that route. But for now, I just wanna do that. So. Different tool. Maybe this will go better. So I got the, by the way, I did kind of see this seam here. I'm able to compare it. This is exactly the same as the original stamped piece of sheet metal that's supposed to be there. The way that they intend you to do it is with rivets. So, you know, basically cut that away just like that, Once you've got enough cut away, then you can kind of mold it, shape it, and then just drill all the way around it and put 1/4-inch rivets. So that's what I'm going to do, with the exception of, because these gaps aren't perfect, and I'm not going to be able to clean it up much more than this. I'm going to sand it, and I will paint it so it doesn't rust where the bare metal is. You know, all this bare metal. I'm going to sand that down and spray paint it, so that way it's protected. And I'll get all of the sound deadening material off of this, but still, because of my body work from a long time ago, which I would never recommend, I'm not going to be able to get a solid seal. And so I'm going to get it as far as I can, and then get some seam sealer to make sure that I beat a seam sealer all the way around this before riveting it down. So that way I've got a nice solid seal there. You know, I don't know that I have to worry about it too much, except for, you know, I got the new shifter boot seal, and then I've got a new shifter boot on top of that. So it's all going to be new and sealed and nice. So I want to take the time to make sure this is sealed as well. So I've got that as clean as I'm going to get it, and it's ready. I went ahead and already spray painted it. All right, so that is cut out as much as I'm going to do. You can see that that's still, like, the spot welds for the original panel are kind of riding right underneath that, and they're just way too hard to get to. And from what I'm figuring out, here's the new panel from LMR. From what I'm figuring out, it's just not really necessary to remove that, because what you're putting it in with is rivets. I don't know if you can see them over there, the 1/4-inch rivets. So I'm going to drill some holes and do the seam sealer around this whole thing. So drill holes throughout. They give you a bunch of rivets, I don't know how many, but you know, I'll do, like, I don't know, that far apart throughout, maybe like 3 across the back, and then that kind of same around the whole thing. I'm going to use seam sealer across this whole thing as well. Okay, so I'm using this seam sealer. I'm not a body person. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I think this will work for what I'm trying to do. So I've got some spots where I cut a little too deep here and there. I'm going to go ahead and run a bead across there, but then run a bead over the top of where all of the holes are. So that's what I'm going to do right now. All right. Put seam sealer on top of each of the rivets, because when the pin pops out of the rivet, there's a 1/8-inch hole still in the floorboard. So I went ahead and put that on there. So it doesn't look great, but and then down here on both sides, I patched some holes that I had something else bolted in there. It was actually the Lakewood bolt-on drive shaft safety loop. So went from it being bolted on to being welded to the subframe connectors. So I needed to patch those holes from a long time ago. So next steps, we'll put this in. This is the lower boot. Again, LMR sells it as part of that kit with that piece of metal. Comes with the little U-nuts and then a set of bolts. All right, that repair is complete. Seam sealer's white, so it kind of stands out, but No big deal. It's all being covered by carpet anyway, so I'm not real worried about that. I think it's pretty well sealed. It's not probably not 100%. These cars rarely are. I will be getting new door seals eventually too, as this is all missing. But you know, try and keep as much of the burnout smoke out of it as I can. We're going to end this episode here. That's probably what we'll work on in the next videos, get all the interior completed, or at least reassembled, put back together. I've got a new seat belt to put on the passenger side, and then it'll be wiring from there. So MSD, and then pulling the battery forward, making sure that any of the wiring that was left behind in the cab from the previous setup is either being used or is terminated correctly, because some of that stuff was just ripped out. So I just got to validate all that. And then I really need to figure out radiator hoses. Still struggling to figure out what I can do for that. The top one, again, is pretty obvious, but it's the bottom one that I'm worried about. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.